Hello, everyone. Welcome to an APH Excel Academy. We are so glad to have you with us today. You feel free to say hi in the chat. Today is Girl Talk with Frankie Ann. Today is usually a day where we work with our younger students, but if you're a little bit older and want to stick around, you are welcome. Again, welcome to an APH Virtual Excel Academy. We are glad to have you with us today. This is our second to last week. We've got this week and next week, and then we have a break until camp. Welcome, welcome. Today is Girl Talk with Frankie Ann. So come on, all you girls, get ready to chat and learn a little bit. Hi, Frankie Ann, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing great. So happy to be here.
I'm going to turn this group over to you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be back for another APH Virtual Excel Academy. Last time I was with everybody, I was running girls group, which was geared towards some younger students. Today, we're going to be doing Girl Talk, which is the second part of our girls group session. So firstly, I have a nice slideshow up for you guys that says Girl Talk with Frankie Ann, and it has some fun pictures on it. One is in the top right corner, top left corner, sorry. It has some fun makeup all spread out. And then in the bottom right corner, there's a little picture with a little text bubble that says girl, because like I said, today is all about girl talk. So what is our goal for this lesson? Today, we really want to think about and understand different aspects of growing up. So understand some important aspects about being a girl and growing up, and especially considering the changes that happen as we grow up. As we get older, there are a lot of different things that might change. We talked about a lot of these in our last session, and now we're really going to focus on how those things we talked about last time change. We're also going to really focus on being able to identify resources and people you can turn to navigate these changes. Because growing up, I'll say this a couple times this session, growing up isn't always easy. Sometimes growing up can be hard, and it's important to have people and resources to turn to when these things happen. So, first thing we're going to talk about when we think about growing up is personal management. This is where we started last time, and we're going to start with personal management again. So, to kick things off, I want those of you who are here with me live and those of you watching over the recording to think once again about what personal management means to you. If you're live, you can tell me in the chat. And if you're watching this recorded, I want you to take a minute and really think about what personal management means to you. Monica says taking care of yourself. That's a great point. So personal management is, yes, taking care of yourself. And there's a lot of ways that we can do this. Oh, personal management. Brittany says knowing what to do. Knowing what to do, that's a good point. Knowing what to do, how to take care of yourself. These are great points. So last time we really talked about what personal management is. This week, we're going to, like I said, really be thinking about what it is and how this changes as we grow up. Ooh, being responsible. That's a great one. Thank you for sharing that. So we are going to move on here. Okay. So a big part of personal management and taking care of yourself is staying clean. Again, this is some stuff that we talked about in our last session, but it's really, really, really important, especially as we think about growing up. So a big part of staying clean is showering. It's important to take a shower every day. Showering is the best way to keep your whole body clean from the top of your head all the way down to the bottom of your feet. Now, as we get older, there are some things that might start to change. For instance, you might start to grow body hair in places that you didn't have body hair before. You might recognize that you have some body hair under your arms, on your legs, in your private area. These are body hair will start to grow as you get older. And one thing that we as girls often do when we start getting older and taking a shower and recognizing this body hair is we start shaving. Now, why do we start shaving? Shaving is a good way to help keep your body clean and looking nice and presentable. When to start shaving, now this really depends on who you are. Yes, shave your legs. This really depends on who you are and how fast your body is changing. So for some people, you might not start growing any body hair until you're in high school. Some people might start growing more body hair in middle school or even maybe towards the end of elementary school. It really depends on who you are and how your body changes. There's not one right or wrong answer of when to start. It's really about when you start to notice that your body hair is growing. And again, it's important to start shaving because it keeps your body clean. It keeps it, looking presentable. So that is shaving. The next thing that might change is as you get older, you might start to develop acne. Acne is little pimples or bumps on your face that you might notice as you start to get older. I heard someone say once that they sort of feel a little bit like braille dots on your face. So the best way to keep acne from developing is to really make sure that you're washing your face every day. What I have learned and what I know a lot of girls do is they come up with a routine of when they wash their face and what steps they use. I know some people who use different soaps, different moisturizers, cleansers. When you start to do some research on acne and washing your face, there's going to be a lot of information out there, especially for girls, on how to keep your face clean. And the best advice, I think, when it comes to this is really consulting with either your doctor or your mom. There are people that can help you because it really depends what soap and what products you use really depends on your personal skin. Some people have more sensitive skin. Some people have drier skin. So there's a lot of products out there that are customizable to your own body. So when you get to this point, if you notice you're starting to develop acne, there's a lot out there for you to consider. And one thing that I would even encourage you to think about is maybe starting to develop a skincare routine. You might hear that phrase thrown around sometimes. It really just means a healthy routine for washing your face once or twice a day, depending on again, your skin type and what works best for you. But it might be good to start this even before you develop acne. It's a good habit to get into, making sure that your face is nice and clean, and it helps keep acne from developing. A next part about staying clean, last time that we talked about, is wearing deodorant. It's important to wear deodorant every day. And especially as we get older, because as we get older, we might start to develop what's called body odor. So body odor is when parts of your body start to smell. And this happens from being active, getting sweaty, going to the gym, playing sports. And it just happens if you don't shower every day, your body might start to smell. So it's really important to use deodorant to help keep this from happening. You put deodorant under your arms. And again, it's to help keep body odor from smelling. Now, why is this important? This is important because other people notice when your body doesn't smell good, right? You might be sitting next to someone and you might notice that they don't smell very good. And that's not always a great thing. It's not something that you want to be known for, being someone that's smelly. It's important to really think about how you present yourself and how you're taking care of yourself. That isn't a good way to keep yourself healthy and clean. So it's really important to use deodorant so that you're smelling fresh and being and presenting your cleanest, best self. Again, last time we talked about brushing your teeth. This is important to do 2 times a day. It helps keep your breath smelling clean and fresh. And it's, again, same thing with deodorant and your body smelling. If you have bad breath, if the first thing you present to someone when you walk up to them is smelly breath, that doesn't make a very good impression. And it doesn't let people know that you are thinking about your health and staying clean. So it's really important to make sure that you are brushing your teeth 2 times a day to keep your breath smelling fresh and clean. Oh, someone asked, what is an impression? That's a good question. An impression is the first thing people notice about you. So it's like meeting someone for the first time. An impression is how you present yourself, what their first takeaways are when they meet you. So when you are meeting someone for the first time, how they think about you. And we want to make sure that people are thinking about us in a positive way. And a big part of that first meeting, that first impression, that first thought that people have of you is we want them to know that we're someone who stays clean and takes care of ourselves. All right, moving on. So last time, we also talked a lot about appearance. Now, just like with personal management and staying clean, I want us to take a moment to think about what does appearance mean to you. You can tell me in the chat if you're here with me live, and if you're watching this recorded, take a minute right now and really think about what does appearance mean to you. Brittany says makeup and clean teeth and nice hair. Those are all parts of appearance. Monica says how she presents herself to others. Exactly. Thank you, ladies. That's exactly it. Appearance is all about how you present yourself to others. And it does involve things that we just talked about, like staying clean, but there's also more to it than that. A person sees what appears on you. Oh, that's such a good point, and that ties perfectly into what we are about to talk about. So an aspect of your appearance are your clothes. It's really important to think about what clothes you're wearing and to keep some things in mind when picking out clothes. The biggest thing to consider is, are they clean? We just talked so much about staying clean and a couple of the changes that happen to your body, particularly thinking about body odor and smell. That also applies to your clothes. Thinking about if your clothes are clean. If you're wearing dirty clothes, something that you already wore once that week and has been sitting on in your laundry hamper, and you take it out and you want to wear it again, it might be smelly and it might have some dirt on it or stains on it. That doesn't make a good, like we just talked about before, first impression. Or even to someone you might know already, wearing clothes that aren't clean might not make the best statement about who you are and how you present yourself. Wearing clothes, especially undergarments or socks that are dirty, that really adds to increase of body odor and how you are smelling. So it's really important to think about clean clothes. The next thing to think about when picking out clothes is, do they match? Now, I talked last time about how thinking about if your clothes match can mean two different things. For one thing, does the outfit you're putting together match the occasion or the event that you're going to? For example, you wouldn't wear a prom dress to your track meet, right? So it's really important to think about, does the outfit you're putting together match where you're going? The type of event, the type of activity. The next thing when thinking about do they match is, do the colors or patterns of the outfit go together? There's some things that you might hear when you're watching fashion shows or fashion people on YouTube. They'll talk about clothes clashing. Certain colors don't really go together, and certain patterns don't really go together. You might not want to wear a super striped shirt with a pair of polka dot pants. That might look a little too overwhelming. But for some people, that feels super stylish to them and they like that. It's really important to think about, do they match the event? Do they match in terms of color and also item pieces? If you're wearing a basketball jersey with a super cute long flowy skirt, that doesn't really go together. But another thing that's important to think about in terms of matching is, do they match your personality? And we're going to get back to that in a minute. Another thing that's important to think about in terms of clothes is, do they fit? We really don't want to be wearing clothes that are too tight or way too baggy, because again, that doesn't really help us to present our best self. And it's also not comfortable. I don't know about any of you, but when I'm wearing clothes that are way too tight and really, really tight on my body, or too big and feel like they're falling off all the time, it doesn't make me feel comfortable. I don't feel good in my own outfit. So that's something that's super important, because if your clothes fit correctly, you feel comfortable and more confident going out and presenting your best self. And then the last thing that we talked about last time is, are your clothes a style that makes you feel like you? And that ties back into this idea of matching. Do the clothes that you're picking out really match who you are? Everyone has their own unique sense of style, like I was talking about. Some people might really like to wear bright patterns or bright colors, or like lots of ruffles on their shirts, lots of big statement fashion pieces. But for other people, that might not be their thing. They might like to wear some more what we call muted colors, like black or just brown or gray. Those are things that are really important to consider. And as you grow, you'll realize that your sense of fashion and clothes might change. You might be watching certain TV shows or see your friends start to adopt certain fashion trends, and you might like them, and some of your friends might not. It all depends on who you are and how you want to present yourself. But again, the most important things to think about when making those style choices is making sure that all the clothes you're picking out are clean, that they match in some capacity, and that they fit you well, both in how the clothes fit your body and how they fit your personality. Moving on, another part of appearance, as someone in the chat mentioned, is hair. We talked last time about finding a hairstyle that fits you, learning how to do a few different hairstyles, and finding accessories that match your personality, just like we talked about with clothing. And another big part of appearance, especially for young ladies, is makeup. Now, especially as you get older, you might start to find that you're a little more interested in wearing makeup. Some questions to think about is when to wear makeup. Now, again, this really depends on the person. I'm a grown adult, and there are only really certain times where I feel like I need to wear lots of makeup, right? I have a makeup routine that I do pretty much daily that's just very basic, right? It just makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I'm presenting my best self. Then sometimes there are more fancy occasions, right? Like in high school, you might be thinking about prom. Those are some instances, some more fancy occasions where you might want to brighten up your face a little bit more and explore with more makeup that maybe matches your dress. So again, there are lots of times to consider when to wear makeup. But again, that's really up to you and your interest. Some people don't really like to wear makeup at all at any point, and that's totally a personal preference. Again, another question to consider is how much makeup you put on. I really think that this depends on the occasion, right? So for your everyday, you might just want to make sure that any little blemishes on your face are covered. You might want to put just a little bit of blush on to make sure that your face is bright. On those everyday occasions, some people don't always like to even wear eye makeup, but some people do. I sometimes just throw on a little bit of mascara and then I'm ready to go. So it really depends again on who you are and how much makeup you want to wear that makes you feel good. Something that I think is really important to say about makeup, again, it's not for everybody. Not everybody likes to wear makeup. It doesn't always make everybody feel good. So I think it's really important to, as you're getting older and thinking about wearing makeup, really make a decision that makes you feel good. If wearing makeup doesn't make you feel good, you don't always have to wear it. That's okay. Another thing to think about is how to put makeup on. Now, I know for me as a person with a vision impairment, this is something that I struggled with for a very long time in high school and even into college. I had a hard time putting on makeup. There are so many awesome resources out there to help you learn how to put on makeup. I've picked up a lot of makeup tips and tricks from watching certain people on YouTube. There's a YouTuber, Molly Burke, who is amazing at teaching tips and tricks on putting on makeup. Also talking with your TVI. Your TVI might be able to give you some tools, tips, tricks to help you learn how to put on makeup. One tool that I want to share with all of you right now that helps me is getting a magnifying mirror. I have a mirror that is super magnified. It really helps me to see my face in a way that works for me as a person with low vision. And it's been a super helpful tool to help me put makeup on and present my best self. So we're gonna move on. Okay, so we've talked a lot about personal management, staying clean, looking your best self. And now I really want us to think about, why does this matter? Why does personal management, staying clean matter? Also, do you think that it matters? Oh, I have some friends talking in the chat. Oh, okay. Thank you, Monica. Monica's sharing some things. So what I really want us to think about is, how does personal management, why does it matter? And do we think it matters? If you're here with me live, you can tell me in the chat. Also, if you're watching this recorded, just take a moment right now to think about why you think all of this matters. Personal management, staying clean, how you dress yourself, how you present yourself to other people. Why does this matter? And does it matter? Oh, someone said, I think this all matters because it's respectful. That's great. It's so true. It's respectful to yourself, right? It's really important to take care of yourself and respecting yourself as a person. That's so important. Someone said they think it matters because it shows value in yourself. Yes, I love that. It's so true. Taking care of yourself and being respectful towards yourself, making sure that, you know, your self matters. It's so important. Those are great answers. And that actually is exactly what I wanted to share with you. Taking care of yourself enforces the idea that you matter, right? Again, picking out your outfit, picking out your style, thinking about all of this, it's important to make a good first impression or to present yourself well to other people. But it's also really important to do all of this for yourself. You want to feel good and you want to look your best self. So I think those are great answers and a perfect way to describe why personal management matters and why it's important. Thank you all for sharing. And for those of you watching this recorded, I hope that you can really take that forward with you when thinking about how you present yourself and how you take care of yourself. All right, moving on. So now we're really going to talk about how does personal management change? We've talked about some of this already, but there are a couple of words that are really important that I want us to think about. The biggest one is this idea of puberty. Puberty is a word that basically describes all of the changes that happen as you grow up. And a big part of puberty are hormones. Hormones are parts of our body that influence these changes and really make these changes happen. So I'm going to go to the next slide. There is a hormone in the female body called estrogen, and this hormone has the biggest impact on the changes in girls' bodies as they grow older. And we're going to talk about some of those changes right now. So we've talked about some of them, but we're going to get into it a little bit more. So some of those changes include body hair, like we talked about. You'll start to notice that body hair will grow on your legs, under your arms, in your pelvic region. We talked about acne on your face. And again, washing your face is the best way to handle acne. The shape of your body might start to change, which is you might start to notice that your body is changing, and you might start to notice that you need to wear either a cami, a training bra, or a regular bra, because again, as your body is changing, the shape of your body might change, and you might need to wear these things to help yourself present in the best way. You might notice that you're going through some emotional changes. You might start to get really mad or sad and not really recognize why it's happening. You might kind of feel like there was no reason, and you might just start to feel super sad, or the opposite. You might start to feel super, super happy. Those are called mood swings, and those sometimes happen when puberty sets in and your hormones are changing and developing in different ways. Another thing that might start to happen as you get older is you will start to get your period. And so what is a period? It might seem a little scary at first, but it's really nothing to be scared of. It happens to every girl. It's something that every girl goes through. It happens once a month, and it lasts for about a week. And you will need to use certain products to help you stay clean on your period. You will need to use either pads, tampons to help keep your underwear and your pants clean when your period starts. There are some really great resources that I'll talk about towards the end that will help teach you a little bit more about your period and what you can do when this starts to happen. And additionally, I'm going to share some people that you can turn to talk more privately, more one-on-one about these changes. Because again, the biggest thing that we want you guys to take away from this and know is that you have people and resources to turn to when these changes start to happen. All right, we're going to go on to the next slide. So speaking of that, who are those people that you can ask for help? Again, it's okay to ask for help when thinking about personal management, staying clean, your appearance, and the changes that might start to happen. Some people that you can ask include, oh, I've got some people telling me in the chat, your parents, your mom, these are great. So yes, your parents, especially for girls, maybe turning to your mom, are great resources. They are perfect people to turn to for help. They can help you get any of the supplies that you need. Your mom could take you out shopping to get a cami or a training bra if you get to that point. Totally great resources. Another resource could be your siblings, but like we talked about last time, especially if you have a sister, that might be a great resource. But like we talked about last time, your siblings and your friends also, these are people to be a little bit careful when turning to for help, especially if you have the type of relationship with your sister or your sibling where you know that they are someone you can trust and count on and they always tell you the truth, then sure, turn to your sister. But if your sister is someone who might like to tease you from time to time, or you feel like might trick you, they might not be the very best resource. So just be careful when turning to your siblings. Same thing with your friends. Your friends are great people to talk to because they're going through all of the same things that you're going through right now. They probably have a lot of the same questions that you have, but because of that, they might not have all of the answers, right? They are also asking these questions. So that means that they don't have the answers as well. They might have some suggestions or ideas, but they might not know exactly how to go about it. So they're great people to talk to for sharing your ideas and knowing that someone is feeling the same way that you do. But again, just be careful because they might not have all of the answers. Another person or people that you can turn to for some of this, for some help in these areas is your doctor or your school nurse, especially when thinking about puberty, hormones, how your body changes. These are people who will have the answers for you. They're adults. This is what their job is to do, is to help you through moments like this. So these are people that you can truly count on. They'll have the answers, and it's okay to feel comfortable asking them these questions because that's what they're there for. So now we're going to move on to social life. This is something, again, that we talked about last time. We're wrapping up with personal management, staying clean, appearance. If you guys have any questions on those areas, we can talk to our parents, siblings, and friends, but be careful. Doctors, school nurses, there's a lot of resources for those, and I will be sharing another resource at the end for all of you on personal management. Now we're going to shift gears and really look at social life. So again, I want us to take a moment to think about, what does social life mean? What is a social life? If you're live, you can tell me in the chat. If you're watching this recorded, take a moment for yourself and think about all of the things that social life could be referring to. All right, we have some things here in the chat going out. Monica says a social life is going to parties, hanging out with friends, dating, fun clubs. That is a perfect response, Monica. Thank you so much. Yes, so all of these things encompass social life. Your social life is your friend groups, dating, clubs you join at school, going out, as someone said in the chat. Thank you so much. So these are all things that we talked about in our last session. In this session, once again, we're really going to focus on how these things change. How does your social life change as you grow up? So we're going to move to the next slide. So last time we talked a lot about friend groups and what a friend group is. It's a group of people who all hang out together. And we talked a little bit about, how do you become a part of a friend group? And that really means you find things that you all have in common. So when you start to connect with people, you find things that you all like. Maybe it's you meet someone and you discover that you both have the same favorite TV show, or the same favorite hobby, or the same taste in music. And then this is a common thing that you guys can talk about together and you can share with each other. And you know that you both like it. So you start to get more comfortable with this person because there's a commonality, a common ground. So that's really the fastest and best way to get connected with people, is finding your similar or common interests. And then that first friend you make might know someone else who has that same common interest. And then your one friend turns into a group of friends. So that's really how friend groups develop. And again, we talked about this last time. So now we're really going to think about, where can you meet friends? How can you start developing these friend groups? These friend groups can start at school, and a lot of times you can meet people with common interests based on the classes you choose, especially when you get to high school. When you get to high school, you have a little bit more freedom to pick some of your classes. Yes, there are things that you have to take, like certain English, sciences, history, math, but then you also get to take some fun elective classes. Let's say you're someone who really likes writing. You might be able to take a creative writing class, or you might be able to take an art class that is really fun. I know some people who took photography classes in high school because they really liked taking pictures. So you could sign up for a class like that that's more fun and not as academic focused, and you'll meet people in those classes who have that interest. You know that they signed up for this elective because it's something that's interesting to them. There might be a few people who signed up because it was the only thing that would fit in their schedule, but that's kind of rare. Most of the time, people signed up for elective classes because they have an interest in it. So that's a great way to connect with people, especially in high school. Another way to make friends is something that we talked a lot about last time, is extracurriculars. Extracurriculars are all of the things you do outside of school. So sports, drama or theater, choir, clubs, dance class, all of these things fall under the term extracurriculars. And again, this is a great way to get connected with people who you know have the same interests as you, right? Especially outside of school. If you are in a dance class or you are joining the drama club, it's because you like that thing and you can feel comfortable talking to other people in the club with you because you know that they have this same interest. We're going to move on. Today, I really want to think about, how do our friend groups change? Because again, as we grow up, you might start to notice that the people you were friends with in elementary or middle school, the things you have in common might start to change. You might not like some of the same music anymore, or they might not like those same TV shows. Their hobbies might change. You all might have liked to take dance class together when you were in middle school, but then this person got to high school and they really want to try sports. There's so many reasons why friend groups might change. And that's okay. It's okay to recognize those changes and to recognize that you might not be as close of friends anymore. You might not have those same similarities or common interests. Your personalities might start to change a little bit. And so you might feel like you want to find new friends who kind of you connect with better at this point in your life. So how do you do that? How do you become a part of a new friend group? The same exact way as before. You just have to find those common interests, find that common ground so that you can connect with people. It might feel a little repetitive or like you're doing the same thing all over again. And that might be kind of sad or frustrating, but it's the best way to continue to meet new people and to make sure that your friends are really fitting with who you are and the things that are important to you. Now, this is where I'm going to segue into a new idea. Something that you might start to experience as you get older, especially in middle school or high school, is something called peer pressure. And I really want to talk about what is peer pressure. What does this idea of peer pressure mean? If you're watching this recorded, you could take a minute to think about that. And if you're with me live, you could tell me in the chat what you think peer pressure means. Pressure of your friends or close peers. We have some responses in the chat. Brittany says people tell you to do things you should not. Those are great answers. Thank you, everyone who's responded in the chat. That's exactly it. Peer pressure is when people who are your friends, or peer is another word for people close to your age, start pushing you or telling you to do things that you either A, shouldn't do, or B, don't want to do. And that might be a little tricky because some of the people who are pressuring you to do these things, it might be people who you think are your friends or who have been your friends for a really long time. They might start to ask you to try some things or do some things that you just really don't feel comfortable doing, you know are not good to do, or you just aren't interested in, you just don't want to do it. And when they pressure you, it doesn't always feel good. So I wanted to take a minute to talk about how you can work through peer pressure. One thing you can do is ask for help. It's okay to go to a grown-up and tell them that your friend is pressuring you to do something that doesn't make you feel good. That's actually really important. So it's okay to ask an adult for help to work through this with the person who is your friend. It's okay to say no to things that you don't want to do. It's super important to be able to say no to those things. It might not always feel cool or hip, right, to say no to these things, but what's more important than being cool is being you, right? By saying yes to the things that are important to you, that's being cool. The coolest thing you can be is yourself. And I think that's super important to hold on to. So it's okay to say no to things that you don't want to do. And don't let the things some people might say bring you down. Again, people might make you feel kind of not great for saying no to something. They might make you feel like you're making the not cool choice, or that they might say some mean things to you, but don't let those things bring you down. It's important to trust yourself and know that you don't want to do it. You know it's the wrong thing to do, and stick with that. Trust yourself. Find better friends, because if people are pressuring you to do things that you don't want to do, those people might not really be true good friends. So that might be a sign to you that you might need to explore new friend groups, find new friends who do value you and your opinion and what you think is the right thing to do. So that's a little bit about peer pressure. Now we're going to move into another big topic with growing up, which is having a crush and dating. So we talked about having a crush last time. We talked about what a crush is. Having a crush is not something to be embarrassed about. It happens to everyone. Everyone starts to have a crush where they start to maybe feel things for someone who used to be their friend, or maybe they want to get to know better. They might start to like them as more than a friend. And again, this is totally normal and it happens to everybody. What do you do when you feel like you have a crush on someone? It's important to stay calm and cool about it. We talked about this last session where we said if you start to get really over the top about it, animated about it, kind of overly clingy about it, that might not send the best signal to the person that you like. It's important to stay calm, stay cool about it. It's also important to remember that you might like them, but they might not like some of the things that you like. They might have some different interests than you, and that's okay. You might have some things that are similar, and there might be some things that are different. Your crush may not feel the same way about you that you feel about them. That's something super important to keep in mind. We talked about this a lot last time. They might not feel the same way about you. They might not like you as more than a friend. Now, that might not always feel great, but it's really important that when you learn that about the person who's your crush, that you respect their feelings. It's super important because you would want them to respect your feelings if the situation was reversed, right? Let's say someone who you didn't like as more than a friend reached out to you and liked you and told you that. You would want them to respect your feelings when you tell them how you feel. So it's really important to be mindful and respectful of your crush's feelings. So that being said, we're going to move into a little bit of a dating boot camp, because as you get older, dating is something that happens. You might start to have crushes, and then you might want to ask that crush on a date. And it's super important to know what to do when this happens. I know in my experience, it was kind of nerve-wracking being in high school and going on first dates. So we're going to talk about some tips for dating right now. So the first thing we're going to talk about is getting a date. Getting a date can be really scary. It can be super terrifying. It's scary to put yourself out there, and I'm going to throw a big word out there, to be vulnerable. Being vulnerable means sharing your emotions with someone, letting them know how you feel. That can be a scary thing, because what if they, like we just talked about, don't like you back? What if they don't feel the same way? What if they don't talk to you again? There's all of these what ifs that can get in your head and make it hard to put yourself out there and get a date. But it's always, I say, once you get past those initial fears, the worst thing that can happen is they say no. And that might feel like the worst thing in the moment, but I promise you, you will move past it. I promise you. It is scary and it is terrifying, but you'll be able to move past it. Now, what happens if someone asks you to go on a first date and you may want to ask them to go on one too? Remember, like we talked about, stay calm about it. Don't get all overly animated and excited, right? Try to be calm and just talk to them as if you were talking to someone who is your friend. That's how I always try to think of it. You're just asking them a question, right? You're asking them to say maybe, hey, do you want to go on a date with me? Maybe we could go get some dinner, right? Keeping it calm, casual. You don't have to marry this person right away, right? This is just the first date. So think about what you want the outcome to be, right? What do you want to do with this person? You want to take them on a date, and maybe you want to, for your first date, you want to get to know them a little bit better, right? So really think about that when you're presenting the question of, do you want to go on a date with me? You could say it like that. Say, hey, do you want to go on a date with me? I think you're really awesome, and I'd like to get to know you a little bit better, right? So keeping it calm, thinking about what you want the outcome to be, and again, being respectful of that person's feelings, but also being respectful of your own, because you might put yourself out there and ask someone on a date and they might say no, right? And that might not feel great, but it's important to be respectful of the fact that that's how they feel. All right. Now we're going to talk about preparing for a date, because again, the whole aspect of going on a date can feel a little overwhelming and scary, right? Especially if it's the first time going on a date with this person, you've never done it before. The biggest thing that I would say about preparing for a date is thinking about where you're going to go. If you get asked on a date by someone and they pick a place like a restaurant or maybe a movie theater and you've never been there before, do some research. Learn as much as you can about the place you are going to before you go on your date. If it's a restaurant, maybe find their menu online. See if you can pick out a few items on the menu that you know you like to eat, so that you don't feel overwhelmed trying to read the menu in the space for the first time. Maybe visit the location with your O&M instructor before going on the date so that you can learn about the layout of the place. For example, again, if you go to a restaurant, you could learn where the tables are, where the best path from a table to the restroom. There's a lot that you can learn about these different places. And again, it's important you have your O&M instructor and your TVI as resources. This is a moment where these people can really help you prepare for this. So it might be good to check in with your O&M instructor and see if they can help you get comfortable with the location before you go on the date. The next thing in preparing for the date is thinking about your appearance. When picking the outfit for your first date, be mindful of where you are going. Again, we're gonna throw it back to for a second to when we were talking about clothing and appearance, right? You wouldn't wear a prom dress to a track meet. You wouldn't wear a tracksuit out to a fancy dinner, right? So really think about what the date is. If you guys are going mini golfing, you might want to wear something a little more comfortable, like jeans and a nice shirt versus wearing a dress or a skirt, right? So really think about where the date is. Find a way to present your best self that is also appropriate for the activity you are doing. And same goes for your hair and makeup, right? Again, I'm going to keep using this example. You wouldn't wear a prom dress with your hair all done up and tons of makeup to a track meet or a baseball game. So really be mindful about that. And also when picking clothes for a date, especially, you're trying to show this person who you are. So maybe pick clothes that best represent you. One of my favorite colors is pink. So when I wear pink things, it makes me feel really good. It makes me feel like me. It makes me feel like I'm embracing my bubbly personality, and it just makes me feel good. And I feel like it is a good representation of what people are going to get when they start talking to me. So maybe think about that. Think about what colors you like and do they best represent your personality. Moving on. Next, we're going to talk about conversation on a date, because sometimes you might not know where to start. Sometimes it can be hard to know where to start in terms of conversation on a date. So what I would say is before you go on the date, come up with a few questions you would like to ask your date to learn more about them, right? Maybe some things like, so what's your favorite movie? Or what's your favorite maybe you could say, I've never been to this restaurant before. Have you? What's good here, right? You could learn about things to learn about them. Now, what you want to avoid though, is making it a full-on interview, right? You don't want to just sit there and ask all these questions and overwhelm the person, right? It's important to make it a conversation. So you want to ask them questions, but also feel free to tell a little bit about yourself as well. You don't want to just talk about you. It's not the you show in this moment. This is a moment for you to get to know the person you're on a date with, and for the person that you're on a date with to get to know you. So it really needs to be a back and forth conversation. So think about the things that you have in common. Why did you guys go on the date in the first place? What were the common things that you guys knew about each other, things that were similar, right? Maybe start there. Start with some of those things. Maybe you're going on a date with someone who is on the soccer team with you. You could talk about, oh, that one practice was so hard, or, oh, I wish we had won that game, or, oh my gosh, I'm so excited we won that game. How do you think we're going to do the rest of the season, right? That's a good place to sort of start, and then you can sort of transition into some more questions about the things you don't know about that person. Another thing is, as you ask these questions and you're having the conversation, you'll find out more things you have in common and maybe some differences that you have with this person as well. So speaking of that, we're going to move to what happens after the date, right? Sometimes dates don't always go well. It might not be a fun time. After the date, you may feel like you do not want to go on another date with that person. That's okay. You don't have to date the person forever. So it's important to find a way to respectfully tell them how you feel. Let them know in a nice way that's mindful of their feelings and mindful of your own that you had a really good time, but you think you'd like to just be their friend. It's really important to let them know so that they're not thinking that you guys are going to be dating forever. Now, on the flip side of that, if a date does go well, you may want to go on another date with the person, or maybe even ask them to be your boyfriend or girlfriend. However, they might not feel the same way. Just because you had a good time on the date doesn't mean that they had a good time on the date. So, or maybe they do. Maybe they did have a good time on the date and they do want to go on another one. There's a lot that can happen. No matter how the date goes, the most important thing is to be respectful and always keep the other person's feelings in mind while validating your own. And what that means is everything I've just said. Be respectful of their feelings, but also be respectful of yours. And do what makes you feel good, but also, be mindful that the other person might not always feel the same exact way. All right. So, who can you ask for help? Who can you ask for help when it comes to social life, dating, all of the things we just talked about? It's okay to have questions and to be unsure about situations that may come up related to friendships or dating. You can ask your parents, you can ask teachers, you can ask your TVI or O&M instructor, you could ask your school counselor, or you could ask your siblings or your friends. But remember, your siblings or friends might not always be the most reliable because, again, your siblings might play tricks on you. They might not be the most trusted people. If you have a great relationship with your sister or sibling, absolutely ask them for help, but just be careful. And same thing with friends. Friends are great people to talk to because they're going through all of the same things you're going through. They are in your shoes, they're in it with you, but they might not have all the answers. So just be mindful about the advice or things that your friends tell you. If it doesn't seem totally true, it might be good to just double check with your mom or dad or teacher just to see if what they were saying is really true or the correct answer. So, something that I want us to keep in mind, like I said last time, growing up can be hard. It's a hard thing. It's a different thing. It's a new thing. And we talked a lot today about the different changes that you're going to go through. But even though it's hard, it's okay to talk about it. It's so important to talk about it because if you just sit in it, you're not going to feel good and you're not going to be taking the best care of yourself. So it's really important to talk about the changes that are happening as you grow up. That's why we call this girl talk, right? It's important to have people that you can turn to, your friends, your siblings, your mom, so that you can talk about these things in a way that's healthy and helpful to you. Now, sometimes there may be moments though where your mom's busy or you can't get in touch with a friend. What do? This is a resource that I talked about last time, but I'm bringing it up again because this is a series of books. It's called The Care and Keeping of You. And again, we talked about it last time, but it's a series. There are several books that can help you in all of these areas that we talked about as you grow up. So these are really great books to help you navigate some of the changes. It's something to help you when you don't have someone to go to for girl talk. And all of the books in the Care and Keeping of You series are available on Bookshare. So they are accessible for all of us with vision impairments. I hope you guys all enjoyed this session. I had a really great time being here with all of you for some girl talk. Thank you all so much for listening. And remember, even though growing up is hard, it's okay to talk about it and to have people that you know you can turn to and trust. So thank you all so much.
Thank you so much, Frankie Ann. This was great to have girl talk time. Now, to make it fair, tomorrow is man camp. So it is guy talk time tomorrow. So hopefully you will join us tomorrow for Man Camp Part 3 with Alex. On Thursday, we have a very special something called Writing with Our Imagination. So be ready to write. And next week will be our last 3 days of our Virtual Excel Academy. Now, if you want, you can also register for your age group for our summer camp. We will be actually sending out items if you register early. Thank you so much. Thank you, captioning. Goodbye, Robin. Goodbye, Frankie.
Bye, everyone.